Hi everyone, Laura here with a few DIYs to share with you. I hope you're all doing well. Have you guys ever put, some items together? You had an idea, you put it to the side, didn't ever, really think it through, but it's, over in the corner somewhere and you see it every now and then. Well, this is this project. So it didn't really come through. I just knew I had an idea. So I just started working on it and it all came together. So I'm going to take some 100% acetone fingernail polish remover to remove the letters from these key holders that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. And it worked. I didn't know if it was going to work. I just went ahead and tried it. And sure enough, it just took the paint right off. And it didn't bother the paint underneath too bad. So what I did is I took an emery board and I just sanded the rest of the fence post there and just made it look on purpose because you can still see just a little bit of residue from where the letter was outlined. So I just sanded that part off, sanded the rest of the fence post, and it looked on purpose. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just taking off the letters and then I'm going to sand that down. And the O and the H was a little bit trickier, and I was a little bit scared to use the acetone on there because black on white, white on black, I kind of had a feeling it wasn't going to work. So, and it didn't. So I did end up having to paint the white fence post and the black fence post, but that's okay because I had both of those colors in my stash. So here in just a minute, I'm going to show you what I mean when I try to remove that O with the acetone. And here we go. And as you can imagine, it took off all of the paint. So not only just the O, it took off all of the white paint. And then I proceeded to the black fence post. And yeah, that didn't work out so well either. So I just ended up painting over both of those. But before I did that, I did remove one of the hooks because one of the hooks is on the white fence post, as you can see here. So I just went ahead and I painted those. I won't show that. I'll just skip that part and move on to the next step. Okay, so a little bit of changes here. Do you see the two middle fence post there? I ended up painting those two the same color. I just used the territorial beige and I just distressed those two with my emery board. And the reason I did that is because I want to make it look like a gate. So that's the color I use there, is the territorial beige by Apple Barrel. And then I'm just gonna add the hooks back onto the signs here, so you can hang your keys or whatever you would like off of these. And so here I'm just kind of laying things out, how I want things to look and how I want things to sit. And I had a little mishap. Okay, so here I'm laying things out. Now what I want to do is I want to add some greenery and some roses to make it look like these, bushes are growing out from the backside of, around the house, but on the backside of the fencing. And it would have worked, but there's a hanger on these key signs here. I didn't really pay attention to that until I went to go move it around here, and I was like, why is this not sitting flat? Well, when I flipped it over, I realized that these do have the sawtooth hangers in the back. So I removed those, right? But then when I went to glue things down, I wasn't thinking, and everything got glued closer to my board. So here is where I realized, oh, there's that hanger. I better remove that before I glue things down. Thinking, oh, thank goodness I caught that. But it didn't leave me a whole lot of room for the greenery and the roses to sit behind those fencing. It would have if I would have glued the, that stuff first and then glued the fencing on top of it. But by that time, I already had glued, or by the time I realized it, I already had glued everything together. So anyway, it worked out. I pushed on and I made it work, and I think it still came out pretty cute, but it was not my original vision. But things in crafting doesn't always go the way you planned it. So anyway, I just wanted to explain that. So just in case you want to remake one of these, just keep that in mind, that either glue your greenery and your flowers first and then the picket fencing, or raise it up just a little bit, maybe with some Jenga blocks or something like that. Anyway, so here I am gluing my pieces down together, and just like so, and I'm just kind of making sure it lines up with the edge of that board in the back. And I just thought that these colors went so well together, and I didn't know what to do with that board in the back. And when I had these together, I thought, you know what, that would look different. It would be something different than what I usually do. So I went with it. So here I am gluing that other piece down. And I don't know when I realized, wow, this is sitting really close to the board and there's not much room to slip any greenery in there. But I did realize it at some point. So, okay, so now I have this wood banding that I got from Panda Hall Select. I love this stuff. I work with it quite often. I just love it. You can use it for detailing. And anyway, check out my other videos that I've used this in. I'll leave some links at the end of my video here, but I just love this stuff. So here I'm just measuring it out, and I'm going to make, I'm going to frame this piece out to make it look like a gate is what I'm trying to get at. So I'm going to play some music and show you how I did that. And if you didn't have this wood banding, which most of you probably won't, you could always use craft sticks and just cut them into pieces and use it that way.
I watch you as you drive. Do you know I'm looking? And I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on, I put my feet up, and we just sing along. And I can't help but feeling, just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? Forever. 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 I watch you as you sleep. You don't know I'm looking. With you everything's complete. Do you know how much I love you? I put your favorite song on just to wake you up. When I dance around, I can't help but feeling, I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? Forever. 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 I'm loving this moment.
Okay, now I remember. This is when I realized, oh no, it's too, the fence posts or the fence is way too close to my board because the live, laugh, love sign, it fit in there with no problem, but I had to squeeze that baby in there. It was snug as a rug. I don't even think I used any glue. It was that snug, and it wasn't as far down as I wanted, my original vision, but that's okay. It still worked. I still think it came out pretty darn cute. So anyway, here I'm like, oh no, how am I going to get this greenery in the fencing here? So what I did is I just pieced, there I am thinking. When I do that with my fingers, I am thinking hard. So what I did is I just, oh, see how snug that was? So yeah, here I'm going, oh man, maybe I should use something else. I'm trying different pieces, thinking, and that's pretty cute now that I'm looking back at it. That's cute too, but I like the other one better. So I did end up squeezing that original one back in behind that fencing. Oh, I'm even trying this one. I was like panicking, going, what am I going to do? So yeah. Okay, so then I just started adding my greenery, my roses, and it came out really, really cute. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but or you probably saw, but these keychain signs, they had a little heart hanging off one of the fence posts. I did remove those both, and I did end up using one of the hearts in the end. And I'll show you that here in a sec. But yeah, here I am just sticking those stems wherever I can get them and using hot glue. Right now I'm just kind of piecing them together, getting a feel of where I want things to go. I moved, flowers around, just like that, just for placement. And yeah, it was a lot more work than I intended, but it did work out. And that's only because I couldn't get that greenery behind the fencing. I kind of had to poke it through, the slats of the fence post, if that makes sense. So anyway, I'll just let you watch and see how I decorated this sign up. Oh, and here's where I used that heart that was on the fence post, and I'm just going to use that. And I just glued that right onto the top of the gate and tied it in a little bow. I did shorten it just a bit. It was a little too long. And then after living with it for a few days, I was like, that heart needed something. And I said, hey, I'll put the word keys on there, because it is for my keys anyway. So I just added the words keys with my, Cricut. And then I love it. It's still hanging in the back room, and I hope you love it too. Let me know what you all think. Okay, so for my next project, I'm going to make a tiered tray, and I lost the clip where I was showing you all the supplies that will be needed that I used anyway for this project. So anyway, I'm going to be using 4 of those wood trays. These are the newer ones from the Dollar Tree. I think they're so pretty. I'm finding the center of my tray here, and I'm just going to mark it, and then I'm going to drill a hole, and I'm just making sure I'm even on all sides. And then I have a 1/8 drill bit here, and you always want to use a smaller drill bit than the size of your screw. That way you'll get a nice tight fit when you do go to screw your project together. So that's what I'm doing here. And when you drilling in this soft wood from the Dollar Tree or any soft wood, you have to go real slow. That way you can crack the wood or splinter it if you try to go too fast. Okay, so now I'm going to glue these 2 trays together to make the base for my tiered tray. And the reason I marked and drilled the hole first is because I'm going to glue both back sides together, and I wouldn't be able to measure my tray. So that's, I know, there's probably an easier way, but you know what? I do things the hard way sometimes, and that's just the way I think. Yeah, I would probably save myself a lot of time if I figured out how to do things easier, but okay, it is what it is. Okay, let me know if there's an easier way. So anyway, this is what I did. So now I'm going to take some wood glue and I'm going to simply glue these two pieces together. So I'm going to use quite a bit of glue and I'm just getting it all over. And then I'm going to take a paintbrush and I'm going to, just paint that glue on and get every inch of that wood and make sure that there's glue. I don't want this coming apart because like I said, it's going to be the base for my tier tray. So here I'm just, well, I was going to put it together, but now I got my paintbrush and I'm just going to, paint that glue on and then glue these together. And I did wait about 3 hours and let this dry real nice and good before I drilled through the bottom piece or the bottom tray. That is now one piece. Okay. While the tray is drying, I'm going to work on the post for my tier tray. I'm going to take a fence post that I got from Dollar General and I cut down 2 pieces at 6 inches and 1 piece at 1 3/4 inch. I also used 3 different size drill bits. So on the very bottom post, I'm drilled a hole 1/8 inch and that's where the screw will be screwed into. And then on the other side of that same piece, I drilled a hole 3/16 of an inch. The middle piece will get 3/16 inch hole on each side, and then the 1 3/4 inch will also get 3/16 hole on one side. And I'm going to put a list here somewhere on the screen just in case you would like to make one. And then I also found the center of the last 2 trays and I drilled a hole 15 64 inch, and it had to be big because it had to go around those dowels that I'm using. And I did get those dowels from the Dollar Tree. And to find the center of the dowels, I just ran my ruler from corner to corner and then measured it right in the center. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I just got to drilling all my holes and got them all prepped and ready to go. I can't remember the size that I cut the dowels because I did cut a piece and then I had to cut it down. So it depends on how deep you drill your holes into the posts. You want it deep enough where it's not going to come out, even though we're going to glue it, not too deep, but you want it in there. I guess I should say. I'm sorry I didn't measure it. I should have. But anyway, if you do recreate this, it just depends on what size you're using and what size dowels you're using, so that part you can just play by ear because you can just cut it down to fit. And now for the super fun part, putting it together. I stuck the screw through the bottom of my base, just like so. And then taking the post with the 1/8 inch hole on one end and the 3/16 inch hole on the other end, I just screwed in the 1/8 inch hole to the screw, or the screw to the hole. And I didn't over tighten it because it is soft wood and I didn't want to crack the wood, or I didn't want it to be loose. I wanted it to be nice and snug. And then I added the dowel before I cut it down. And then I'm going to add my tray, my next tray, which will be the middle, and then I marked it and then I cut it down. So yeah, here I didn't measure it, I should have. So I'm just gonna take my miter shears and I'm just gonna cut me a piece of that dowel. And yes, I had to go fish that piece out. It went flying across the room. I added the dowel, then I added a tray, and then the second post. The dowel was a bit too big, so I did cut that down. So you can see what I mean. You'd have to cut it down suitable for your project. So I added the dowel again, added my tray, and then I fit it or added the post, and it was a great fit. So there we have it, and then I'll move on to the top tray. Okay, jumping forward just a little bit, I took everything apart once that I got my fit, and now I'm going to glue them all together. So lots of glue around the dowel and the post, and then I added my tray, and then I'm going to add more glue inside the hole and around the post, add the post, and then I'll just repeat that, adding some, oh, I'm adding a post, a dowel here. I didn't realize I didn't cut it yet. So, okay, so I'm adding my dowel. I'm going to measure it and cut that down just like I did on the other steps. And then I'll just glue, I'll just glue the top piece that has the one hole on one side, just like so. So more glue in the hole and around the post. Add my tray and the top piece. Oh, I added some more, more glue. We don't want this falling apart. And then I just added that very top piece. And this process was done. So I was so happy the way this came out, but you know, I wanted it to be unique. I wanted it to be something that I can't find at the store, you know, to make it my own. So what I did is I have these little wooden appliques from the Dollar Tree last year, the year before, these flowers and these leaves, so beautiful. So what I did is I added some to the very bottom base, front and back, and then I added to the top of that base, to the right and to the left side of the top piece. I know it's getting confusing. The second tray, I put the same appliques on the front and the back, and then the very top tray, I placed the appliques all the way around, and I used super glue, wood glue. So I know these are not coming apart. I wanted it to look like it was actually part of the wood. And then with some white chalk paint, I just gave this whole piece a good 2 coats of chalk paint. And it did take me a while because I did have to get in between those appliques, you know, all those little details. But I love how this came out. Let me know what you all think. I love this piece. I'm probably going to keep this piece for quite some time. I have these little miniature perfume bottles that I used to collect, and when we had that earthquake, 7.1 earthquake, my cabinet broke. I used to have a cabinet on the wall for miniatures, and so a lot of my bottles broke as well. But anyway, so they've been in a box in my craft room, and I really wanted to display them. And when I got this idea, I said, that's it. I'm going to use this for my miniature perfume bottles. But you can use this for whatever you like, you know, little miniature fairy things from the Dollar Tree, or any kind of miniatures. You know, heck, they don't even have to be miniatures. I mean, you know, whatever fits in these trays you can display. So anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and jump forward to the final product. Tell me what you think. For my next project, I want to make another sign, and with this one, I want to use those bath salts from the Dollar Tree. Now, I got these a couple of years ago, if not even, yeah, I think it was around a couple of years ago, and it was for Valentine's Day or Mother's Day, one of the two. So I'll be using those. I need some pencils. And then this pegboard system, the Dollar Tree sells these hooks, and I really, really wanted to use these hooks, but it didn't work out. And these little ones, those come in a 3-pack. So here's the bath salts I was talking about, and then I'll need a tape measure. And on my board, I have some crates just to sit there because I want to drill some holes in my board, and I don't want to drill my table. On this board, I measured for the 2 on the outside, I measured 6.5 inches down, and then 1/4 inch from each side. And then I just marked little holes, and then I lined up those wire peg holder, or the wire holders. I just measured that and then marked it, and then that's where I drilled. So in essence, I want to stick the wires that I showed you from jute, and I want those to be my hangers, but it did not work out. So I'm just going to fast forward, and I'm just going to explain. It didn't work out. I started off with a 1/8 inch drill bit. I had to move up to a 3/16 drill bit, and I just could not get those hooks to work. And I was ready to just, you know, stop. I was just ready to scratch this altogether. But then I just said, no, I really want to use this. I had an idea a couple years ago, finally getting to it. So what I did is I just ended up using jute. Here I wanted to show you how I was struggling to get those holders in there, the wire holders. What I did wrong is, what I should have done is pulled those wires apart, fit the piece around the neck of the bottle, which I did fit it around the neck of the bottle, and it did fit. But with all the extra bulk of with the wires and everything, basically I should have spread the ends apart, and I should have made my holes further apart, and it totally would have worked. So next time, maybe I'll try to make this again. But for this particular one, I scratched the wires and moved on to the jute. Before I do that though, I had painted the top side of that frame with some white chalk paint and a baby wipe. I just rubbed it on the top portion, and I didn't like it, so now I'm just gonna take another baby wipe and dab it in some white paint, and I'm just going to go around the whole frame of this picture, or this sign I should say. And I just like that much better. It just looked finished. And the reason I want to add white paint to the sides and the front is because I'm going to be adding some appliques, and they just didn't pop as well against that raw wood as a white background. So that was my thinking anyway. Before I add my bottles though, I did go ahead and paint some of my appliques. So I have 2 birds here that I painted with pale yellow, and I painted that flower with the color Maize by Waverly, and that is chalk paint. And then the pale yellow is from Apple Barrel, and that's just matte acrylic paint. And now I want to dab with the end of my paintbrush the color pumpkin right in the center of that flower. And then the leaves I painted spring green, and that was also matte acrylic paint by Apple Barrel. And then I dumped out all the bath salts, I washed them, I dried them, and I took off all the plastic and all the stickers. And now I'm going to use some faux water, and this is the brand that I'm using here. So it is acrylic, so you get the hardener and the acrylic, and you want to wear gloves, you want to wear eye protection. You just want to be real careful with this. So here's my directions. So it says to warm both the bottles in some warm water for about 20 minutes, which I've already done. And here I just have some disposable bowls here. I really wish I had found my disposable funnels, and I couldn't find them. So now I have to replace a funnel for my kitchen because I took one. So anyway, okay, so, and it says to use equal parts A, equal parts B. So I wanted to use different containers because I want them to be, I don't want to leave some of the residue from A in the B, then add B to the same container. Does that make sense? So that's what I did, and because it does say to make sure that they are equal parts. So I'm just going to start with A, and I ended up using 3 ounces because that is what is on those 2 small containers. Those are from the Dollar Tree. They're just, little food containers, and they are 3 ounces. So I'm just going to use that 3 ounce line, and that'll be my measurement. So here I'm carefully pouring A into that container, that 3 ounce container, making sure it's right at that line. And then with a craft stick, I'm going to just, scrape the sides of this container and get it all in there, and make sure, I do the same with the B, which is the hardener. So here I'm going to do the same thing, 3 ounce line, and then I'll scrape that out as well, just like that. And then it says to mix approximately around 5 minutes, very slowly. And it looks like I'm going fast because I did speed up the camera just a bit, so my video wouldn't be too long. So here, 5 minutes of stirring slowly. Okay, it's been 5 minutes, and I just took a cardboard box and made some holes to hold my vases in place, and I just poured that full water into my vases. In hindsight, I should have measured, but I kind of eyeballed it. So the water levels are all different sizes, but that's okay. Maybe it looks realistic. I don't know. But yeah, I would have tried to get the water levels kind of the same size. But anyway, moving on. There's that funnel that I stole from my kitchen, and I threw it away because I didn't know how to rinse out this resin. This is the first time I've ever worked with it, so I just threw it away, and I'll just replace it. I'm sure I got this from the Dollar Tree anyway. So here I am. I'm using that funnel to pour in the faux water or the acrylic, and just kind of, if I didn't pour so much in the first one, I could have got them all a little bit, level, but okay. Enough about that, Laura. then I just let this dry, and on the bottle it said 48 hours, so I wanted to wait a little while to let this set up just a little bit, and then I wanted to stick my flowers, my fake flowers, into the jars. And I waited too long. It was only like an hour and a half, and it was already so hard. So as you can see here, my flowers are not all the way down to the bottom of the vase, which, again, if I do this again, I'll make sure and put those flowers in 20 minutes, and let that just set up slightly, and then add my flowers. Because this, I guess because it was such a little bit of acrylic, it hardened really fast. And here I'm showing you how big those holes got from me trying to get those wires in there. But I do want to mention, I forgot to tell you that when I was trying to get those wires in, I did make those holes bigger. I drilled them with the 3/16 drill bit, and it still didn't work. So anyway, here we are. I'm going to use jute instead. And this jute I got, I believe it's from Walmart. It's a thicker jute than you can get from the Dollar Tree. And if it's not from Walmart, it's in the automotive section. So it's a bit thicker. I just can't remember where I got it. But anyway, so here I'm just kind of seeing where I want things to go. I know I want this flower in the middle because it's got the most water in it. So just to make it kind of uniformed. And I'm just trying to figure out, what I'm doing here. So I'm going to cut me a piece of the jute off, and then I'm going to burn the hairs off. And then I decided to glue some of the jute around the rim of each bottle. And then I tied another piece to the board itself. I've got the jute glued to the neck of my vase here, and now I started off going from the back to the front, and I didn't like it, so I removed it. And I see here it was just too bulky, and I don't know, I didn't like it one bit. So here I'm going to from the front to the back one time, and I'm just tying it real tight in the back, and just tying a knot and cutting the excess off. And here we are with all three of them. I have these tiles, letter tiles from Walmart. I'm just going to add the words "Hello Spring" to the side of the board here, or the sign. And then I'm going to add a bird to the top left-hand corner, the bottom right-hand corner, and then I'll add a flower with leaves to the very bottom of the sign, just like that. And I just used hot glue for this. And all I had left to do was make a hanger on the back, and this sign is complete. What do you think? I think it's so pretty and springish. Is that a word? Springish? Anyway, thank you all for watching my video today. I hope I gave you some inspirations. And I know I rambled quite a bit in this video, but yeah, a lot of explaining, because this is one of those videos where a lot of things did go wrong, and but I just carried on and pushed through, and I think it came out pretty darn cute. So anyway, I will talk to you all in my next video. Please stay safe out there. I hope you're all well. And yeah, till next time, bye for now.
You as you drive, do you know I'm looking, and I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on, I put my feet up, and we just sing along.